Hi, Year 8. So I just want to explain to you what you're going to be doing for the next few lessons. If we go back to this entire unit, your statement of inquiry is looking at how systems of governance have both positive and negative effects on society's development and growth. So we started this kind of looking at what we meant by systems and what we meant by governance, and you looked a little bit at the United States and how they governed and how that system operated. And then we've spent quite a lot of time looking at China and the Qin emperor and his legacy and the positives and negatives of that particular governance system, culminating in you writing your PEAL paragraphs last time. Now we're actually going to move into looking at new and different systems of governance, and you're going to get some choice here. And again, looking at the positives and negatives of those and how it might impact society. So you are going to look at different systems and compare them to what we've seen of the Qin emperor in China. So this was the task that you did on Monday, and just looking at a summary document of the Qin dynasty. These were some of the various impacts. You had to put them into the right place in the table and then decide whether or not they were positive or negative for society. The reason I got you to do that is because this is a really good template to use for your own research. So as you're choosing a new system of government to look into, all of these sorts of areas need to be the things that you're considering, and then you can use this kind of model template to kind of collate your research, if you like. So there's some information here about different civilizations and different ideas, going back over long periods of time. But you are basically going to choose the civilization that you're interested in. You're going to think about how you want to inquire about that civilization. You're going to think about whether you want to collaborate with someone else, but certainly at the beginning, you're just going to do some of your own research. You're going to decide how to feed back, and then you're going to check in with me, and we'll decide whether you need to go back and revisit any of these or whether you can carry on with your research. So I'm not giving you quite free choice. We're giving you 6 different civilizations to consider, and you can choose one of them to investigate in more detail. So you've got some starting links here. So each link takes you to a starting document for your inquiry, and once you've had a look at all the civilizations, you need to choose one that you're going to maybe look into a little bit more. So there's a little video, for example, if you looked at ancient Rome, and if you click on the ancient Rome link, there are some questions here that will structure your inquiry that you can start to work through, and then some websites that you might want to use, some videos that you might want to take a look at. And then you need to basically summarize what you found out. So this is the table, looks very familiar. You might want to summarize your ideas like this. Alternatively, you might want to do a little infographic and summarize your ideas that way. Or you might want to do a PEAL paragraph and summarize your ideas that way. Or you might want to produce a Google site and summarize that way. Okay, and I think we're going to do a little bit more work on this as well in future lessons, so everyone can understand how to use that. And then once you've done your research, your task is really to compare the system of government that you're researching with the Qin system in China and see, how they compare. Did they bring positives and negatives to the various societies that they were ruling over, and how does it compare and contrast? Okay, so it's quite an extensive bit of research that you're doing. So just going back to here, so for each of them, there's that guidance sheet. There's some textbook resources as well, which if you click, it should open some pages on a textbook. So that can sometimes be a nice simple start point for you. It's going to take a while to load. Or you might decide you want to do ancient Egypt. And again, if you click on here, there'll be a nice guidance document. Again, you can see it's the same sorts of questions. Websites related to the Egyptians, videos related to the Egyptians for you to look through, and then a summary table if you want to do that, or a picture chart, or a PEA paragraph, or a Google site if that's what you want to do. So I think today and tomorrow is really about doing this research and sort of starting to put your notes together. And I would recommend, certainly initially, putting your notes in this kind of simple table format, because that will give you something to go off as you're reading through lots and lots of information, watching videos and things. And then once you've got that information, you can then decide how you want to display it in a bit more detail. So that's our task so far. If we go back to this bit, at the moment we're not collaborating, you're doing this by yourself for now while we sort of put something together. And then once I've had a chat with you, maybe towards the end of this week, we'll decide whether or not we want to join into groups and things like that. But I think at the moment I want everybody to do their own individual research.